This is Steve Deace.
Back here with John Stemberger of the Florida Family Policy Council, who's got a column sounding the warning alarm about Trump and the evangelical vote. We've already talked about why it is so key to Republican gains. But, John, I want to go into what works for Republicans winning the presidential election and what does not. Prior to Roe versus Wade, the Republicans lost the Catholic vote, and sometimes by large margins, in 6 of the 7 previous presidential elections. Since Roe versus Wade, they have not won the presidency without winning the Catholic vote. And in order to get that Catholic vote, because Catholic social teaching on issues like immigration and the use of government programs to help the poor is a little bit more to the left than what evangelical teaching teaches on those subjects. So in order to get that Catholic vote, you have to run a strong pro-life candidate. Trump is not a strong pro-life candidate. He's not even pretending to be one. He won't even advocate for the defunding of Planned Parenthood, for goodness sake. You also have to have a candidate that energizes evangelical voters. The last 2 Republican nominees have seen what happens when they are unable to energize evangelical voters. When it's the key aspect, the largest voting bloc of the Republican base. And in this last election, John Romney won independents nationwide. He won them in every key battleground state except yours, but it was a virtual tie between him and Obama down there. And yet he still lost the election because he lost a turnout your base election. If we cannot get Donald Trump to defend, Donald Trump said Kim Davis should rot in jail. If we can't get Donald Trump to defend religious liberty when he's shilling for us and pandering to us now when he thinks he needs our votes, if we can't get him to be pro-life now when he thinks he needs our votes, then, John, what positions is he going to take in the fall in a general election when he thinks he has our vote all the way locked up? What's he going to do then?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear there's a trustworthiness issue. Now, he's saying the right things often, or trying to say the right things, so he's broadly conservative. But I wonder how many of your listeners, Steve, know that he actually voted for Barack Obama in 2012. I mean, he tweeted it out the night of the election saying, hey, I always support winners. I'm glad you won. I mean, do people even know this? He then deletes the tweet, but it's still out there. Hundreds of thousands of people have seen it. And so, it boggles my mind that evangelicals or Tea Party people are supporting this guy, and he voted for Barack Obama the second time. I mean, that ought to tell you right there about the nature of this guy. Look, talking tough is one thing, but ultimately it comes down to public policy. That is what lawmaking is all about. That's what politics is all about. It's about good public policy. It's about principled conservative public policy. And support who you want, but don't support a guy that's going to be unstable and is going to come out supporting crazy stuff that's, as you said, not going to be any different than any other Washington politician. That's really what we have here. He's a showman. He knows how to play to his audience. He understands people. He understands how to move people. And so there's this kind of cult of reality TV and, Colbert Report sarcasm. It's all kind of rolling into one where we've created this monster that actually reflects the nature of our culture, which is completely pop culture driven and kind of reality TV edgy kind of thing, coupled with the anger, legitimate anger against the Republican Party. This is not the way to fix it. Donald Trump will for sure be an enormous mistake. And I'm just trying to alert people, look at this man's record. Look at his own statements and see if this is really the guy you want to be president of the United States.
I can't imagine anybody with any semblance of conservative conviction would cut Rahm Emanuel a $50,000 check. And the stuff he's saying on immigration now, I'm a man of faith, John. Maybe you disagree. I don't have enough faith to believe that in a general election, when faced as the lone wolf against the entire liberal media complex now, and he's on a debate stage and they're asking him, are you going to go house to house, round people up and deport them? I really can't, I don't believe he's going to maintain that position. I don't believe there's any possibility he would even do that if he were to be elected president. And I think that's one of the difficulties with making him your nominee is what will he pivot to? If you look at the way Trump has constructed his campaign, John, it's based on really what East Coast stereotypes are of Midwestern and Southern conservatives. Birther cards, conspiracies, rounding people up and deporting them. This is what a lot of people on the East Coast think about conservatives in places where you and I live. And his entire campaign has been constructed around playing to those East Coast stereotypes and trying to capitalize on them.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, look, I do agree with people. Donald Trump is serving a purpose. But, just because somebody's serving a purpose, that doesn't mean you want to be president of the United States. And I'm very concerned about the polling of so-called Christians saying, oh, yeah, we want him. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, out of all the things you could think about, there's so many of the conservative candidates who are godly men who are presenting principled solutions to public policy. It's absolutely insane that we would choose a guy just because he sounds like a revolutionary. I mean, it's just very disappointing to see the kind of support that evangelicals are bringing. So that's why I'm writing this article in CNN saying, hey, look at the 3 reasons, 3 questions every evangelical has to ask before they consider Donald Trump.
And repeat those 3 questions again, John.
Well, look at my article here. Number 1, do you know about his morals and his personal life? I mean, do you know what he's done? I mean, he makes Bill Clinton look like a Sunday school teacher. We'd have to apologize to Bill Clinton. This is a guy that said he's proud of having slept with the most beautiful women in the world. I mean, really. He calls women pigs and words we can't even use on this air. You'd be shut down if I quoted him on the show. I mean, how are we going to have a commander-in-chief who's that disrespectful and undisciplined with his words? I mean, this is a matter of national security. You start mouthing off to some crazy man in a foreign country and not doing it in a kind of a reasoned, measured way, and we're going to have a really serious problem on our hands. This is more serious than folks even understand. This is not a joke, and this man is unstable in many ways in terms of his own discipline of what he's able to say and the credibility he brings.
What kind of reaction have you gotten to this piece?
A huge reaction. It's blogs all over the country have picked it up. There's just coming on 500,000 hits and views. Over 7,000 people on Facebook are discussing the article. And really all I did is just really quote. I took it's all documented, it's all research, and showing things that he has said and he's advocated for. And as you know, the best indication of what a politician's going to do is not what they're saying now, it's their past record. And since he's not been elected official, I put together his record on what he has said and what he's said in his own books and his own statements over the years, and just recently.
John, one more time, tell people it's at CNN.com where they can read your article, correct?
Yeah, just type in 3 reasons, 3 questions evangelicals should ask Donald Trump, and it'll be right there. CNN article has gotten literally hundreds of thousands of views.
John Stemberger, Florida Family Policy Council. John, I know, having taken on the mantle that in the past in my career that you have taken on by writing such a piece, I know that it rolls downhill sometimes, brother, in response. So thank you for being willing to stand in the gap and air a contrarian viewpoint when it's not always popular. Really appreciate it.
Steve, thank you for your leadership in Iowa and beyond. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. God bless.